Sometimes, the most haunting disappearances don't happen in dense cities or remote wilderness. Sometimes they unfold in the open, on the flat, familiar plains of home. And sometimes a person vanishes not with a struggle, but with a whisper, into the dark, under a quiet sky, while still on the phone with someone who loves them. This is the story of Brandon Swanson, a 19-year-old college student from Minnesota, a car found abandoned, a phone call that ends mid-sentence, and a mystery that's lasted over 15 years. You're listening to The Quiet Verdict. Brandon Swanson was born on January 30th, 1989, in Marshall, Minnesota, a small town surrounded by farmland and a close-knit community. His parents, Brian and Annette, described him as smart, independent, and responsible. He loved books and theater. After high school, he enrolled at Minnesota West Community and Technical College in Canby, studying wind energy. May 13th, 2008 was a milestone. Brandon had just completed his first year of college. That night, he attended a small gathering with friends in Canby to celebrate. Nothing wild, a few drinks, a few laughs. Friends later confirmed Brandon didn't appear intoxicated. Around 11:30 p.m., Brandon got into his car to head home to Marshall, a 30-mile drive. He never made it. Around 1:54 a.m., Brandon's car veered into a ditch near a gravel road. He was unharmed, but the vehicle was stuck. He tried calling friends for help, but couldn't reach them. Eventually, he called his parents, Brian and Annette. He told them he wasn't far. He thought he was near Lind, a town just a few miles from Marshall. He sounded calm, a little frustrated, but composed. They got in their car and drove to find him. He flashed his headlights. They flashed theirs, but they saw nothing. They kept talking for nearly 47 minutes. Brandon said he was going to walk toward lights he believed were Lind. He described fences he passed, gravel roads. His father stayed on the phone with him, trying to keep him calm, and then, suddenly, oh, shh! The line went silent. At first, Brian and Annette thought Brandon's phone had lost service. They waited, called back, no answer. They drove around until sunrise, retracing everything. When Brandon still hadn't returned home by morning, they went to the police. But the initial response was chillingly familiar to many families of missing adults. He has the right to be missing. It wasn't until the next day that the seriousness of the case sank in for law enforcement, and by then, the trail had already begun to go cold. When authorities finally traced his cell phone call, they discovered something shocking. Brandon was not near Lind. His phone had pinged a tower 25 miles northwest of where he said he was, near the small town of Porter. He had been completely mistaken about his location. Brandon's car was found the next day, just off Highway 68, on a gravel road between Taunton and Porter. It wasn't damaged, no signs of struggle. The keys were missing. The area was flat farmland, cornfields, creeks, and drainage ditches. Searchers used dogs, helicopters, ATVs. The scent dogs tracked Brandon's trail from the car, across 2 fields, along the Yellow Medicine River. The dogs suddenly lost the scent near the riverbank. Some investigators believed Brandon may have fallen into the river and drowned. But there were problems with this theory. The river was searched multiple times with sonar and dive teams. No body. If he had drowned, it's likely his body would have surfaced. He was on the phone nearly 47 minutes while walking, talking lucidly the whole time. If he was disoriented, it didn't show. He never once said he was in water. Brandon's case has baffled experts in missing persons and psychology. Was he disoriented from a mild head injury? Unlikely. He showed no signs during the call. Was he under the influence? His friends said no. Toxicology remained speculative. Was there a cognitive bias at play? Was he so certain he was near Lind that he filtered out environmental clues? His calm demeanor also raises questions. Some theorize he may have been unknowingly in danger, a stalker, a passing car, a stranger who intercepted him. But again, there were no signs of foul play, just silence. There's something else about the call that lingers. When Brandon said, "Oh, shh," it wasn't panicked. It wasn't a scream. It sounded like surprise. Maybe he slipped, or saw something, or someone. To this day, Brandon Swanson's disappearance remains one of Minnesota's most mystifying cold cases. No remains have ever been found. No phone, no clothing. In the years that followed, his parents became tireless advocates for families of missing persons. In 2009, Minnesota passed Brandon's Law, requiring police to immediately file a missing person report for adults under suspicious circumstances. The law has since helped hundreds of families, but Brandon's family still doesn't have answers. Each spring, when the fields thaw, search teams return to the area near Porter, hoping this time the earth gives something back. Theory 1. Accidental drowning. The most official theory. Brandon slipped and fell into the Yellow Medicine River and was carried away, but after extensive searches, it remains unproven. Theory 2. Foul play. Though no signs suggest a struggle, the sudden end to the call could indicate an encounter, planned or random, with another person. Some locals speculate he was picked up by someone with bad intentions. Theory 3. Misadventure and exposure. Brandon may have wandered farther than expected. In the dark, disoriented, he may have succumbed to exposure, hypothermia, or injury in an area that's never been searched. Theory 4. Intentional disappearance. This is least supported. Brandon had no signs of distress, had just finished school, and was in contact with family up until the last moment. Brandon's voice echoes in the silence of that rural night, a voice that tried to guide his parents to him, a voice that disappeared mid-sentence. We don't know where he walked that night. We don't know what he saw. But we do know this. He mattered. He was loved, and he still matters. Somewhere between the phone line and the dawn, Brandon was lost, but his story isn't gone. This has been The Quiet Verdict. Thank you for listening.